UFC Vegas 116, Sterling versus Zalal went down last night, and overall the card was pretty mid, pretty horrible, pretty boring. There was only two finishes on the card. That was thanks to Ryan Spann and Jackson McVeigh. What an incredible fighter he is, and incredible fighter Dricus Dumas, but the card was pretty shit overall. Lots of decisions, lots of underdog wins. I went awful on picks. This card has broken a joint match the record. I'm pretty sure for the event with the most decisions ever. Not a great card at all. Very fucking boring. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to go through every fighter on the card, break down their fight, and give some opponents I'd like to see them fight next. First fight of the night was Talita Alencar versus Julia Palastri. A big underdog upset. I picked Julia Palastri. I thought she'd be able to out-grapple Talita Alencar, land the more volume on the feet, land the more damaging strikes, maybe even get a knockout. I was wrong. Talita Alencar out-grappled Julia Palastri, which was pretty unpredictable, as we've seen Julia Palastri go out there before and have success against decent women in this division, like Lupi Godinez's. However, I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch this fight. I live in the UK. We have TNT Sports. They don't show the first two fights. The card starts an hour later. So it started at 11 o'clock England time, where it started. The first fight was on at 10 o'clock. So I didn't see this fight. Likewise, with Max Griffin versus Victor Valenzuela, pretty low output striking bout as predicted. I predicted Victor Valenzuela because Max Griffin is so shit, whereas Victor Valenzuela, he's young and shit. There's a difference between old shit and young shit, and the young shit is always going to beat the old shit. Victor Valenzuela got the job done by decision. I mean, the highlight of the fight was his nice post-fight message to his grandmother who died. That was pretty wholesome. What is this? 2 weeks in a row? Robert Valentin's won, Valenzuela's won. Pretty wholesome and sad to see. But the fight was boring. Max Griffin, very low output, should be cut. I'm pretty sure he's at 39. Just cut him. Victor Valenzuela, pretty boring victory in your debut. Probably not going to mount to much in this division, but he's 1-0 in the UFC. So you have to give him some respect there for going out there and getting his win in the debut. However, the fight was very boring, low output. Yeah, not much else to say as I didn't see the fight, but I just saw Matt Griffin pretty much gave up in that third round and let Victor Valenzuela win. Next fight was Francis Marshall versus Lucas Brennan. This was a pretty solid fight. Says it's at lightweight. It was only a lightweight as it was on short notice. Both these guys are featherweights, moving up 10 pounds just to make the weight. However, a very dominant win from Francis Marshall, the clearest 30-27 you will ever see. As you can see, the strikes landed. Lucas Brennan does not know how to strike. Very bad striker. Solid grappler, but Francis Marshall is a better grappler. So for a guy like Lucas Brennan, where you've got no advantage on the feet, no advantage on the ground, unless you're going to get a lucky submission win, you're probably not going to beat Francis Marshall. Didn't impose his will on the feet. Gave Francis Marshall nothing to be scared of on the feet. So you'd see Francis Marshall trudge forward, throw these wild overhands, wild hooks, extend on his punches, when he probably wouldn't usually do that in his fights, like with Myron Santos and guys like that he's fought in the past. He had no fear for Lucas Brennan on the feet. On the ground, took Lucas Brennan down, controlled him. Lucas Brennan gave him some problems in round two, where he on the scrambles and was pulling for, was it arm triangles or guillotines? I'm pretty sure he pulled a guillotine in round 2 or 3, something like that. But Francis Marshall got out of it. He's a very high level grappler. He trains at ATT. Got guys like Movsar Evloev, Grant Dawson, Moicano in the rooms he rolls with. So he's going to be well prepared for nearly anyone in the UFC. However, very dominant win. The striking looked good. Had that right hand popping all night of Lucas Brennan. Lucas Brennan, very low output fighter. Solid grappler, got a solid background, only young. I'm sure he'll get a couple of wins in the UFC. But a very good win from Francis Marshall, and for him, I would like to see him take on Yada Deval next, a solid guy in this featherweight division. Got fraud check last time out against what's his name, Jordan Levitt, the Paddy the fucking body victim lad. But that'd be a solid fight. Both guys well rounded on the feet, solid grappling. I may favour Yada Deval, but Francis Marshall needs another step up. He's gone out there beating Danny Silva, not Danny Silva, some bum on. I've got his name, Silva something. That shit like Colombian guy. Now Lucas Brennan, two bottom of the barrel guys. It's time to give him a solid guy, see where he's at. 10-3, only getting better each fight, only 28, I think he's 28, 29, hitting his prime. Very solid, very well rounded. And I'd like to see him take on Yada Deval, a guy that will test him on the feet and show his grappling skills off. But very good performance from Francis Marshall. Lucas Brennan, not the best on the feet. Take some time off, practice your striking. Grappling looks solid, and we'll get some success in this featherweight division. Good fight though. Next fight, Jafel Filio versus Cody Durden. This is fucking annoying. I picked Jafel Filio, just like 95% of the MMA community did. Jafel Filio, you have sold everyone. Awful performance. Got out grappled, got outstruck, gassed out at the start of round 2. You are the one training for Lucas Rocha. a fucking solid prospect who's better than Cody Durden. You would have got absolutely smoked if you turn up like that. How are you gassing out? You had a full training camp, fully prepared for a fight on this date. Yet Cody Durden comes in there 6 days notice and just out mulks you with cardio. Very good performance from Cody Durden. Looked good on the feet. Took Filio down. Filio's a solid BJJ guy, so Durden had to be wary of the scrambles and the submission threats. But Durden looked very good. I know he's 18-10. That's not a good record. He's coming off of 4 losses before this. But he looks solid. That's probably saved his UFC contract. Yeah, not a good look for Filio at all. Durden outstruck him every round. Got the takedowns when needed. Easily defended some of Filio's ones. You see, well, some of them, 2 and 3 is not bad. But Filio had nothing for him on the feet. Couldn't land shots. Durden was moving around very quickly, very nice lateral movement. Filio had nothing for him, gassed out. Cody Durden got the takedowns, got the back, landed some ground and pounds, kind of like Aljo versus Zalal. Very good performance from Cody Durden, and it's probably saved his UFC contract. Jaffa Filio, I'm a big fan. What are you doing, mate? Absolute fraud. Sold everyone. Next fight in the women's bantamweight division was Mayra Bueno Silva versus Michelle Montague, and this was a very good fight, a very fun fight for WMMA standards. However, Mayra Bueno Silva, you are absolutely sold here. You could have easily beaten Michelle Montague and forechecked the prospect. Michelle Montague grappling. Michelle Montague's grappling looks very good. Round 1, absolutely dominated Mayra Bueno Silva. Got the takedown instantly. Transitioned to the back. Landed some solid ground and pound. Threatened the choke. Transitioned well into side control. Half guard. Held her down for the majority of the round. Landed some good ground and pound. Very dominant round. Arguably a 10-8. Clear Michelle Montague round 1. Had Mayra Bueno Silva on her back. All flattened out for the entire round. Round 2 though, Mayra Bueno Silva goes out there like a woman on a madman mission. Backs up Michelle Montague, lands some nasty strikes, has her backing up rock bad. However, Mayra Bueno Silva somehow fumbles defending the takedown. Michelle Montague gets her down. He's able to spend two odd minutes in half guard, full guard, just landing some shit fucking tippy tappy strikes, keeping the breath off of him, and she recovers. Michelle Montague's striking is incredibly mid. She is going to get smoked bad by a decent WMMA fighter who is some solid striking. Could you imagine her versus a Jacqueline Cavalcante, a Jocelyn Edwards? Oh my day, she's getting smoked in the first round. This is why. Round 3 was the exact same, by the way. Michelle Montague couldn't get her down. Got a nice little trip. Buena Silva pretty much threw herself on bottom. Had some control. Saw the fight out. The fight went back on the feet in the last seconds. She was panic shooting non-stop, 2 and 6 on takedowns. It's just a sloppy fight by the first round. Not a good look for Michelle Montague. However, she's pretty green in the striking. Look good. Look good on the ground. Beating the number 12 woman in the division. I would not like to see her get an immediate jump up. In this bantamweight division, there's 2 big WMA prospects: Michelle Montague and Bia Mosquito. Solid grapplers, but their striking looks incredibly mid. That is why I would like to see Michelle Montague not get fast tracked and be given the number 13 woman Nora Canal, who the woman Jocelyn Edwards smoked. I don't want to see Michelle Montague fight up the rankings unless it's an awful grappler. But I don't really think there's many of them in the division. Her striking is incredibly mid. If you can defend a takedown against Michelle Montague, you have a solid 70-30 chance of knocking her out. Very mid on the feet. However, she's a very solid grappler. Good fight. Mayra Bueno Silva, you need to retire. Next up in the middleweight division, what a fight this was. Very fun fight. Finally, the typical Apex slop where we get a first round finish was gifted to us. Jackson McVeigh went out there and just destroyed Cedricus Dumas in the first round. Landed a nice 1-2, backed Dumas up, got him in the clinch, held him against the cage. Landed some nice shoulders like McGregor versus Cerrone, a couple of knees, and rocked Dumas bad up against the cage, sat Dumas down, landed some ground and pound. Dumas is pretty tough, to be fair to him. The ref could have stopped it. Kept throwing fucking ground and pound strikes, and then locked up the DAS. Easy money for Jackson McVeigh. That's the freest of 3 wins he's going to get in the UFC. Cedricus Dumas on his Instagram story said he's moving down to 170. I don't know what he has on the UFC to allow them to do this, but if he's given another chance to stay in the UFC, fair enough. I don't think he should. Complete shit, piece of shit human as well. Jaden Cable, why are you promoting this guy? But a very good performance from Jackson McVeigh. Robert Valentin called him out. I would like to see that fight. 2 guys near the bottom of the middleweight division coming off of good wins. Not against the best guys though. So that'll be a test to see who has some hype. Can't really get too high on Jackson McVeigh though. We've seen him get destroyed in the first round by solid guys in this mid guys in this division. But very good performance. Not much to say. McVeigh backed him up against the cage, landed some strikes, sat him down, rocked him bad, landed some ground and pound. Dumas did well to survive and knocked up the DAS. cut Dumas, give McVeigh Valentin. Very fun fight, which was needed for this boring card, and it didn't sadly change the trajectory of the card. Many more boring fights followed. Good fight, very fun. Lol, Cedricus Dumas' ass. Headline in the prelims was Rodolfo Vieira versus Eric McConaughey. This was your typical middleweight fight. Rodolfo Vieira went out there, very impressive first round. Sat McConaughey down with the first exchange, landed a nice right overhand at the top, dropped McConaughey. I don't really know how, that barely landed, like grazed the side of McConaughey's head. Sat him down bad. I thought, oh shit, Vieira's going to get a round 1 KO. I thought he was going to get the sub. Held him down for a couple of minutes after, landed some ground and pound. McConaughey survived. Khalil Roundtree V2 survived. Did well to get back up to the feet. And from there on, it was a bad night for Rodolfo Vieira. Couldn't get the takedowns as often as he wanted. And when he did, McConaughey would get straight back up, use the cage, get back to his feet. As you can see, 4 and 15 on the takedowns. Eric McConaughey just stood at range, busted Rodolfo Vieira's face up, landed the leg kick, the jab straight, nothing particular fancy. All you have to do to beat Rodolfo Vieira is defend his sloppy takedowns. He's a good grappler on the BJJ scene of the world, but this is MMA. Not a good night for BJJ guys. We'll get to the next fight and talk about that again. But awful performance from Vieira. Had him rock bad. Had him rock bad at the start. Couldn't finish the fight. McConaughey got up to the feet. Vieira couldn't get McConaughey down again. McConaughey looked crisp on the feet, just popping that 1-2, rocking him bad, popping the head back, had Vieira cut up bad. Solid performance from McConaughey. I picked Vieira to get the submission win. It was looking likely he was going to do that in the first round. Yeah. Cut Rodolfo Vieira. If he can't beat Eric McConaughey, he's not UFC caliber. Eric McConaughey's alright, but we've seen him get destroyed by Bang Sangosa Sakaev. Had a war with Brundage. I can't really think of any other of his fights. Yeah, not a good. I'm not going to give him a matchup to make next. Good fight nevertheless. Solid performance from Eric McConaughey. Getting himself in the win column has probably saved his UFC career. Yeah, Rodolfo Vieira should be cut. Good fight though. On to the main card, and wow, this was a solid fight. We actually got a KO, a finish. Marcus Buchecha versus Ryan Spann. BJJ does not work at a low level. You have to be Charles Oliveira, a solid BJJ guy. You have to mix in the wrestling. If you're just relying on BJJ techniques like your leg locks, it's not going to work. Ryan Spann, nasty KO as predicted. Marcus Buchecha is absolute dog shit on the feet. Spamming the takedowns at range. He doesn't have good wrestling. He has good jiu-jitsu. You have to mix it in together for it to work. Ryan Spann defended the takedowns. I like the fact that in the second round he stopped going to the ground. Buchecha would panic shoot, Spann would sprawl, and then in the first round he'd try and land some strikes off of half guard. Spann dropped him bad early in the first, tried to follow up with some ground and pound, but Buchecha, to be fair to him, is pretty mobile, pretty fast for a heavyweight. Honestly, could cut down to light heavyweight. Pretty small, pretty fast guy. But you have to be a jiu-jitsu guy to get them slick submissions. Solid grappling, but he doesn't set it up with the wrestling. Ryan Spann went out there, second round, landed a nice right overhand, and that was all she wrote. Solid performance from Ryan Spann, back in the win column as expected. Nasty curve, Marcus Buchecha. Marcus Buchecha cannot strike, cannot wrestle. Solid jiu-jitsu guy, but not a good night for the jiu-jitsu specialists. Ryan Spann and McConaughey both winning. For Ryan Spann, I wouldn't give him a ranked opponent. Maybe you could give him a Mick Parkin, someone like that, who's coming off of a loss to Tybura and been inactive. Actually, yeah, make Ryan Spann versus Mick Parkin. Not a good fight. A finish. Was fun to see Buchecha get smoked. BJJ does not work at the highest level if you don't set it up with the wrestling. Fun fight though. On to the next fight, Montel Jackson versus Randy Barcelos. Am I coping? I know I picked Jackson. I low-key thought Jackson could have won that. I thought that could have been a split. At least one judge could have given him rounds 1 and 2. Round 3 was clearly Randy Barcelos's. But the thing that doesn't look good on the judges' scorecards is that every round Randy Barcelos was on the back of Montel Jackson, threatening a submission. Rear naked choke, had it locked in the first 2, saved by the bell. However, just look at the strikes landed. Every time Montel Jackson had him on the feet, he was slick striking, popping Barcelos' head back, had him rock bad in the first round, nearly got the finish. Randy Barcelos, like I said in the preview, he's not a good striker. He's not good on the feet. However, he's a dog, will take you down. And someone decent, he's going to KO him bad. If he fights a solid guy like a Song Yadong, a David Martinez, even a Chito Vera, a Figueiredo maybe, in the watch the seas, they're going to chin Randy Barcelos. He can't strike, no head movement, solid grappler, relies on his scrambles, very good takedowns. He's a very good grappler, I'll give him that. But Montel Jackson clearly smoked him on the feet. There is an argument for 29-28 Jackson. However, Barcelos did his job. stalled the fight out. You see 6-18 on takedowns. Jackson did well defending them as the fight went on. Jackson was just pinging bad with the jab, rocket Barcelos bad, get him up against the cage. Barcelos would clinch, get the takedowns when needed, hold Jackson in half guard, transition to the back, and every round ended the fight in the back. And every round ended on top on the back, threatening a rear naked choke. So I could see why the judges gave it to him. He landed nothing of note on the feet. Jackson had not a mark on him. Barcelos' eye was cut open bad. It sounds like I'm coping, but I thought Jackson did win. However, Barcelos is a dog. You have to respect him. Earned his ranked shot. Finally, I don't really think his resume is that good out. But he's winning these fights, whether he looks good in them or not. He's winning these fights. Does deserve a ranked guy. I would like to see him fight Chito Vera next. That could be a solid fight. I would favour Chito Vera in that to beat him by decision on the feet. I don't think he'd be able to get this grappling success on a guy like Montel Jackson. Chito Vera's take on offense is solid. Yeah, I'd like to see Barcelos take on Chito Vera next. Montel Jackson, maybe a Kyler Phillips. Both guys on the verge of it, on the edge of the rankings. Winner of that gets back in the rankings. Yeah, good fight. Jackson's clearly the better striker. Barcelos is clearly the better grappler. Jackson was so close to getting him out of there in the first. And I low-key thought Jackson could have got 29-28. But the grappling of Barcelos was superior. Had the back at the end of every round. I can understand it. But I did pick Jackson, so I'm going to be a little bit biased, okay? Yeah. Good performance from Barcelos. Give him Chito Vera. Next fight. Oh my days. Vintage Davy Grant. I cannot believe I didn't pick him. What a performance from Davy Grant. Absolutely mogging Junior Juan Adrian Martinetti on the feet. Have that Forge MMA. Also, Davy Grant's son followed me on TikTok after my video. That was quite wholesome. Yeah. Onto the fight though. Davy Grant looked very good. Clearly had the power advantage, the speed advantage. Maybe we could have gone to Juan. I'll just call him Martinetti. I'm not saying his full name. However, Martinetti has absolute pillow hands. Couldn't land nothing of note on a washed. No, isn't David Grant's the washed? On a withering old 40-year-old. You know, you'd expect Martinetti to be the faster guy, the more powerful guy. That was not the case. He'd be panic shooting on Davy Grant. Davy Grant showed solid grappling defense, obviously training at, is it Syndicate MMA? With Marab, John Wood. As much as I don't like John Wood, I can accept it when he's with Davy Grant. But a very good performance from Davy Grant. Landed the more damaging strikes. I really like the low kicks early, hurting Juan Adrian Martinetti bad, limiting the movement of Martinetti, making him easier to set up to the body, to the head. Vintage Davy Grant looked good as ever. Didn't get the finish which he would have wanted, but a good fight to get back in the win streak after that. AI lost to Giles Jordan. That never happened. Solid guy, 40 years young. Incredible performance from Davy Grant. Solid striking, solid low kicks. Had Martinetti panic shooting. And yeah, landed the more damaging strikes. Had Martinetti bloodied up bad. You could clearly see Juan Adrian Martinetti was not of the level of Davy Grant. Looks to be a solid guy though, but he's got pillow hands. You're gonna have to build him up. He's only young, obviously coming off of that win against Mark Vologdin. Maybe run that back. Juan Adrian Martinetti versus Vologdin, that could be a fun fight. Both guys coming off of losses, but I like to see Davy Grant take on Ricky Simone. I think that's a winnable fight for Davy Grant, a solid guy. Ricky Simone. I don't know if they fought before. They might have. I'm not that old, so I don't know all the fucking who fought 10 years ago. I know David Grant's been around for a while. I see David Grant take on Ricky Simone. Martinetti run it back with Vologdin. Solid performance from David Grant. Out voluming, more powerful, incredible low kicks, hurting Martinetti in the exchanges, winning the exchanges, and he is 40 years young. Good performance from David Grant. Let's go. On to the co-main event, Rafa Garcia versus Alexander Hernandez, and Garcia, just like Cody Durden, has fooled everyone's parlays and picks. On my Twitter account, I said locks for the card. Jafel Filio, submission. Alexander Hernandez, KO. Incredible performance from Rafa Garcia. Cobb Swanson. What is this with Cobb Swanson? Every guy he trains with and every time he fights, they're just smoking these guys. Rafa Garcia looked incredible. Very clever with the cage management. Had Hernandez backed up on the back foot. Whenever you back Hernandez up on the back foot, he's absolute arse. He relies heavily on his power hand, pushing forwards, backing guys up. See him do it to Chase Hooper. But let's be honest, Alexander Hernandez, I picked him and it may have been a bit rushed. You know, we were all underrating Rafa Garcia. Just because Jared Gordon got hit by a car, people were picking against him because Garcia won. But Garcia's looked solid on a solid win streak. Very good in that fight. Showed his grappling skills as well, slamming Hernandez at the end of round one. Now, round three got a bit scrappy. There was a bit of beef at the end of round two where Hernandez was getting pissed that he was getting beat, which is pretty salty to see. But Garcia fought very smart, popping that jab, backing Hernandez up, had the nose of Hernandez, is very bloody, very good performance. And Rafa Garcia probably deserves a ranked opponent or someone on the verge of the rankings. So if they don't give him a ranked opponent, which I probably don't think they do, he's not a big name. He's not coming off of a highlight win KO streak. I would like to see him get Mason Jones. That'd be a solid fight. Mason Jones versus Rafa Garcia, or someone like a Drew Dober. Who knows? But he's not black, so maybe not. But he is Hispanic. You know, that is another race that's not white. So maybe Drew Dober would be down. But a solid performance from Rafa Garcia, backing Hernandez up, popping that jab, popping that low kick, taking him down when he needed. Round 3 got a bit scrappy, but still I thought Garcia won the exchanges, bloodied up the nose bad of Hernandez, impaired the cardio of Hernandez. Very good performance from Garcia, shocking a lot of people. And for Hernandez, I think we just need to give him another guy low down. Maybe a Nicholas Motta, maybe you feed him to a prospect like a Chanko, who knows? But solid performance from Rafa Garcia. Sad to see for Hernandez. That's probably him done at the top ever in the lightweight division. But vintage Rafa Garcia, good performance. On to the co-main event, Norma Dumont versus Jocelyn Edwards, and I'm not going to lie, this was a very mid, boring, typical WMMA fight. Neither woman did enough on the feet to clearly win this fight. Edwards landed the more volume. There was no real threats. Both women solid grappling-wise, defended all the takedowns. There was no real like, oh, Dumont's rocked, oh, Edwards is rocked. How can Norma Dumont look so upset and shocked when they give Jocelyn Edwards the decision, when she did nothing of dominance to clearly set herself apart from Justin Edwards? It's so frustrating seeing these MMA fights where fighters are so cautious, not wanting to lose, just throwing the low output, you know, the jab, jab straight, like Marvin Vettori-esque. Jocelyn Edwards landed the high volume. She was throwing combos. Dumont was throwing just singular strikes. I like the kicks of Edwards, mixing it up. She's a solid kickboxer. I did pick Norma Dumont. I expected her to get the takedowns, but Jocelyn Edwards has shown improved cardio, that as well on the short notice, but improved takedown defense. I did think she would start to get ahead as the fight went on, as it was short notice Jocelyn Edwards, but Jocelyn Edwards very impressive win. I didn't expect this. Leon Edwards 2.0. Yes, I know she's not Leon Edwards' sister, but impressive performance. I don't think she gets a title fight next. Maybe you make her fight a Raquel Pennington, a Juliana Pena, if you can get them old hags out of fucking camping their number 1 and 3 spot. I don't think she gets a title fight. And this division's so inactive. They're not going to give Jocelyn Edwards a title fight because they're going to make Layla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. There is literally no one else in this division bar these two women. I don't know why they did this matchup, why they didn't just book Norma Dumont versus Yana Santos a couple of weeks later, or just completely scrap it at all. These two were the only real up-and-coming prospects high in the top of the division. Silly matchmaking. Now Norma Dumont's out of the picture. You've got these old hags like your Penningtons, like your Pena, Juliana Pena, that don't fight. Good performance from Jocelyn Edwards, but she shut down a prospect here. Impressive win on short notice. I think they give her a title elimination bout. She's not going to get the title fight. They're obviously going to make Harrison versus Nunes unless she sits out and waits. But very good performance, very low output fight, typical WMA fight, very boring. On to the co-main event, the main event, Aljamain Sterling versus Yusuf Salal. I've already made a little minor breakdown of that on the channel earlier last night, instantly after the fight. However, I'll go through it again. Aljamain Sterling, vintage funk master, incredible grappling masterclass shown on Yusuf Salal bar the third round. Clear 49-46 Aljamain Sterling. Got the takedowns, got the control, got the strike, landed dominant strikes in every round, bar round 3, where Zalal had the back of Sterling. However, 49-46, I mean, they gave it 49-45. They gave Aljo a 10-8 in round 4. I can see it. I just wouldn't give it a 10-8 because Zalal got back up to the feet at the end of the round. Very impressive from Aljo. I don't think he deserves a title fight. He's not going to get a title fight, I hope. Give Evloev the title shot. I don't like Evloev, but come on. You've got to give him the shot eventually. He's just gone out there beating Lauren Murphy in the UK. Has a win over Aljamain Sterling. I know he's not active. I know he's not funny. But just give Evloev the shot, bro. I mean, I'd rather see Aljo get it than John Silver, but John Silver probably deserves it more than Aljo. Let's be honest. Who is better, Yusuf Salal or Arnold Allen? Arnold Allen's a better win than Yusuf Salal. Well, maybe Arnold Allen could get smoked by Marcos Acosta. We hope not. But good performance from Aljo. Don't give him a title fight. Give him one of Lerone Murphy when he's fit again. Jean Silva. Yair Rodriguez if that old fuck would fight. If you want to give him another step down, you also want to get him slimed out. They're probably not going to do this. A Pico of a Laos, get him out of the picture because I think they'd both beat him. But vintage Funk Master, very good performance, incredible grappling. What set him apart was his cardio. He kind of took the fight, took Slowed the pace down in round 3. Then come out round 4 very fast, very heavy. Then low kicks. Round 4, that's probably won him the fight. It was 2-1 going into the 2-1. Yeah, 2-1 going into the 4th. Zalal had some momentum, but Aljo shut that down immediately. Come out fast, chopping the leg, shooting the takedown, getting him down, immediately locking up the body triangle and seeing out the round. Just them shots to the back of the head were damaging. That's what set him apart on the strikes. When Zalal would have Aljo down, he'd just hold him, whereas Aljo was pounding in the head, pause, and landed the damage. But vintage Aljo, incredible performance. Don't give him a title fight. Sucks to see because I don't really like Yusuf Zalal, but he's a new name up and coming in the division. Aljo's been there, done that. Probably not going to beat Volk, neither Zalal. But for Aljo, give him one of Murphy, Silva, Rodriguez next, probably. And for Yusuf Zalal, who the fuck knows? Maybe the loser of your Garcia, Lopez, the loser of your Arnold Allen, Melchizedek Costa, and Aaron Pico, maybe. Who knows? Didn't really take much damage. Solid performance from Aljo. Do not give him the title fight. Yeah, overall this card was pretty mid. Nothing too exciting. I thought Montel Jackson, Barcelos was a good fight. David Grant Martinetti, solid fight. Nasty KO from Span. Solid grappling fest in the main event. The 2 co-main and feature fight were pretty fucking boring. Prelims are pretty shit. First 2 fights were shit. Marshall, Brennan was solid. Good striking from Marshall. Third and Filio, that was just a sell from Filio. Bueno Silva, Montague. Solid grappling from Montague, however, she can't strike. McVeigh, Demas, that was funny. Vieira, McConaughey, that was funny. Demas needs to get cut and Vieira needs to get cut. Both guys are pretty shit. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of the card. Drop a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and goodbye.